we go back to the big story. And the big story tonight, viewers, comes out of once again Rajasthan. Let's focus on it. It's a story, viewers, of abject hypocrisy. In fact, if there was a bulldozer that needed to be run, it should be over hypocrisy, systemic hypocrisy, endemic hypocrisy. What am I talking about, viewers? I'm talking about two examples. Look to the right of your screens. You saw these pictures 2 days ago. Where did you see them? You saw them in Jahangirpuri in the aftermath of riots there in New Delhi, the capital. To be precise, in the northwest of New Delhi. What did you hear when the bulldozers went in? You heard a shrill cacophony of opposition leaders who landed up saying that this was an abject assault, a pogrom of sorts against minorities, against the poor, against their welfare, against their well-being, against their life chances, and against, most importantly, their families, their happiness. Viewers, bulldozers rolled again, this time in a Congress state, in Alwar. To the left of your screens, a temple was demolished. Some people say that temple is 300 years old, that the shivling there goes back generations. Viewers, it's not just this temple, but it is also a whole row of homes, not viewers, radies or pop-up stalls on government land, on public land, but homes. Notices are supposed to be given, as we are told very reliably, not just by the Supreme Court, but also by, of course, the entire ecosystem, that notices must be given, due process must be followed. All of that, viewers, has been only nebulously followed in Alwar, Rajasthan. Yet the Congress government says that the bulldozer that ran through a temple, razing it, leaving it to nothing, and these homes, was actually flattening the road to development, viewers, to progress. You see what I'm saying? Here's the hypocrisy. And it's captured beautifully in just two visuals. Indeed, viewers, after Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat and Delhi, now bulldozers are out in Rajasthan. A Shiv temple that the locals claim was 300 years old has been demolished in Alwar, along with several other structures that the state officials say were illegal. And we needed for widening of the roads as per the master plan. That is what we were told, viewers. Now, as I said, let's just rewind to 2 days ago, to the entire packed courtroom in which Messrs. Kapil Sibal and two others got up and said, oh my gosh, the BJP Municipal Corporation in New Delhi has gone singularly after Muslims. They've targeted a mosque. They warped the entire narrative. Even Supreme Court Justice raised an eyebrow and said, but there is evidence that even Hindu businesses, illegal as they were, viewers, were brought down. And now it turns out that there were more Hindu establishments, not homes, viewers, but as I said, food stalls and the like on roads, public roads, that were knocked down than Muslim ones. But viewers, the facts, at least the opposition, they never let the facts come in the way of a good polemic argument. They won't. It just doesn't suit their narrative. And so, viewers, there is complete silence, stony silence. As stony, viewers, as the debris that is lying there on the streets of Alwar. Mute to what has just happened. Now, I believe, and Times Now always believes, viewers, that if there is an illegality, demolish it. Of course, follow due process, but employ the same yardstick. I would call upon the ecosystem tonight, on the evidence of this hypocrisy, viewers, to either come out and say, no temple, no mosque should ever be demolished, even if it is built in the middle of the ring roads in all our capitals, because this goes against religious beliefs. Or homes of poor, jhuggi-jhopadi clusters, chawls that come up on public land, don't demolish them, because it hurts the livelihoods of those that have carried out that encroachment. Be consistent. We don't have a problem with that if you're consistent, but don't be inconsistent. Don't say the bulldozer running in Rajasthan is running to further the road to development and secularism, and look, we are blind to who is getting trampled. But in Jahangirpuri, in Delhi, your bulldozer suddenly becomes communal. Its orange glaze is immediately compared to saffron. Viewers, that I believe is doing a disservice to law and to order. Now let me tell you, viewers, there are many, many people talking in very different voices. But let's run you through a few walkthroughs of what really happened on the ground. Our correspondent, as always, first at the site to capture not just the voices of the people, but to describe the scenes that he saw and broadcast to you all through the day. Let's tune in to him. This is Bhavar.
मुझे बुलाया मीटिंग में, मैंने ये कहा कि 35 नगर पालिका के मेंबर हैं, जिनमें 34 बीजेपी के सदस्य हैं, पार्षद हैं, एक सदस्य मेरा है। 34 पार्षद आ जाओ, मैं भी उनके साथ हुआ और उनके साथ साथ मदद करूँगा। जब उन्होंने 34 में फैसला कर लिया तो मैं अकेला फैसले को बदलने में सक्षम नहीं हूँ। प्रजातंत्र में वोटों का राज है।
ये जो कांग्रेस पार्टी की जो सोच है, बरसों पुरानी सोच है, हिंदू धर्म को दबा के रखने वाली, ये अब क्लियरली सामने दिखाई दे रही है कि सबसे पहले सालासर के अंदर राम दरबार तोड़ा गया, उसके बाद में करौली की हिंसा हुई। एक तरफ तो हिंदू का मंदिर को तोड़ा जा रहा है, शिव मंदिर 300 साल पुराना ध्वस्त कर दिया गया है, काट दिया गया है वहां पर, यह प्रशासन ने करा है। और दूसरी तरफ इफ्तार के लिए वो इनवाइट कर रहे हैं, तो दूसरे धर्म नहीं है, दूसरे फेस्टिवल नहीं हो रहे, दूसरे त्योहार नहीं हो रहे।
ये घरों की तस्वीरें हैं, आप देखिए किसी ने कितनी खूबसूरती से पेंटिंग यहां पर लगाई थी कि शायद इस घर में रौनक रहेगी, लेकिन रौनक जमींदोज हो गई। नीचे गिर का आंगन टूट गया है। और देखिए आगे मैं आपको चलता हूं, दिखाता हूं। ताला घर पर लगा हुआ था और उसकी कुंडी यहां पर आपको नजर आ रही होगी, वो हटी भी नहीं है, सिर्फ ताला लगा हुआ है और गेट तोड़ दिया गया, गेट अंदर चला गया है। सीढ़ियों की जहां तक मैंने बात की, आपको दिखाई किस तरह से सीढ़ियां तोड़ी गई। ये देखिए, ये सीढ़ियां यहां पर मैं आपको दिखाता हूं, ये घर में जाने वाली सीढ़ी है जिससे आम आदमी घर जाता है। अपने घर की सीढ़ियों में आदमी सोचता है कि थोड़ा सुकून घर में आकर मिलेगा, लेकिन देखिए सुकून तलाशती ये महिला अब उतरे तो कैसे उतरे, बुजुर्ग हैं और सीढ़ियां टूटी हुई हैं, लटकी हुई हैं। देखिए ये सीढ़ियों के नीचे मैं हूं, अगर मैं ऊपर जाना चाहूं तो नहीं जा सकता। और वो महिला जो ऊपर बैठी हुई है, ये शायद अगर गहलोत सरकार ये तस्वीरें देख रही है तो उन्हें सोचना चाहिए कि जिन बुजुर्गों के वोटों से वो सत्ता पर आसीन हुए हैं, उनको इस तरह अधर्म में लटका दिया है कि ना तो ये आसमान में जा पाते और ना जमीन पर, ना छत का सहारा है और ना ही अब धरती का सहारा है। बीच में लटकी अम्मा बैठी है, जाए तो कैसे जाए।
पूरा मकान तोड़ दिया, बच्चे को 7 बच्चे छोटा छोटा थे, सब दूसरा का घर में छोड़ रखे, ले गए। अच्छा। और क्या खावा का, पूरा मकान तोड़ दिया, पूरा हल गया। अच्छा। कुछ भी नहीं। कहाँ है मकान आपका? यहाँ पे सराय में, यहाँ पे मंदिर के सामने मंदिर फोड़ दिया।
अच्छा। हमको उतार फेंक रहे, हमको बंद कर दिया कमरे में। हमने कि हमको 4 जने को मारोगी क्या, बंद करके हमारा चपेट आसार है, हमको क्या इसमें हालेगा तो हम मारेंगे नहीं क्या। निकल जाओ, कमरे में बंद कर दिया।
दुकान थी चली गई, तोड़ दी।
तोड़ दी।
नोटिस दिया?
नोटिस 1 दिन के लिए दिया, 1 दिन में क्या क्या होता है बताओ।
अच्छा, समय देते तो शायद कुछ अच्छा
हाँ, हमने 2 दिन की मोहलत मांगी थी।
अच्छा,
हमने कहा हम हमारे सामान निकाल देंगे, हम पट्टी खोल देंगे, हमारा नुकसान मत होने दो। जब तक नई मोहलत है, ये तो सुबह 7 बजे जैसी भी आएगी।
मैं तो सबसे लुट गई, घर से भी गई, दुकान से भी गई, कुछ भी नहीं छोड़ा मेरे पास। मैं कहाँ जाकर रहूंगी? मेरे ठिकाने कुछ भी नहीं छोड़ा। अब मैं तो बीच रोड पर आ गई, कहाँ पे जाऊँ?
35 साल से सासगढ़ में मुझे शादी करके आई होगी। मेरे साथ 60 साल से रही है। हमारा यही धंधा है, इसके अलावा हमारा आदमी कुछ भी नहीं करते। हमारी इसी से पालन पोषण हो रहा था। हमको एकदम घर से बेघर कर दिया। हमारे पास कुछ भी नहीं है। इस तरह हम किराए के मकान में रह रहे। बहुत बुरी कंडीशन हो रही है हमारी। सारा गया, हमारा कुछ भी नहीं बचा और हमारा सामान वहीं फंसा पड़ा है।
अब मैं कहाँ जाऊँ? मैं मेरी बूढ़ी माँ को क्या जवाब दूँ? मैं क्या जवाब दूंगा कि मेरी दुकान टूट चुकी, कहाँ से लाऊंगा? सब पेट भरूं मैं। मेरी आजीविका ही होगी, कहाँ बसूं मैं? आजीविका साधन दो मेरे को, कुछ भी जगह दो।
ये हमारा 300 साल पुराना हमारा बुजुर्गों का मंदिर था। इसको तहस नहस किया गया और प्रशासन के खिलाफ कार्रवाई की जाए, हमको हमारा न्याय दिलाया जाए।
200 साल पुरानी जो मूर्ति इनको भगा दी है, ये तरीका बड़ी बात है। कम से कम इनका सोचता सही कितना पुराना ये मंदिर है।
आस्था का ध्यान रखना चाहिए था।
हाँ,
ये हिंदुस्तान है, इसमें मंदिर मस्जिदें पहले रहते हैं, लेकिन यहाँ पर मंदिरों का कोई नहीं है। हिंदुस्तान के लोग क्यों? इनका
राजनीति क्या है?
ये राजनीति है एक तरीके से। ये दबंगई है।
कौन कर रहा है?
ये एचएम की दबंगई है। यहाँ की जो मुख्य वो क्या है, यहाँ का एमएलए, वो दबंगई करके इसको तोड़ दिया गया है।
300 बरस पर यह राजगढ़ की स्थापना हुई, उस समय का ये मंदिर है, तो ये अतिक्रमण में है ही नहीं है। उसके बावजूद भी इन्होंने पुजारी श्री प्रवीण कुमार जी को मतलब जबरदस्ती यहाँ से भगा दिया गया और बेरहमी से मूर्तियां वगैरह मंदिर को तोड़ा गया।
Well, let's go straight across to Bhavar, who's there on the ground. Bhavar, आप पूरे दिन रिपोर्टिंग की है वहां से. You've been reporting the whole day, and you have brought to us certain very interesting facets. आपने जो दिखाया हमें, उससे हमारे को पूरा वहां पर जो हुआ है उसका हमारे को पूरी तरीके से एक संदर्भ में इंफॉर्मेशन मिली है. तो मैं आपसे पूछना चाहता हूं, टू आस्क यू, क्या सारे घर जो तोड़े गए हैं सबको नोटिस मिला, और जो मंदिर है जो तोड़ा गया उसके ऊपर भी ड्यू प्रोसेस चला है, या ऐसा नहीं हुआ है?
देखिए, जहां तक नोटिस की बात है, हमने जब लोगों से बातचीत की तो लोगों का कहना है कि कुछ लोगों को नोटिस मिला, कुछ को नहीं मिला। अब ये सच्चाई क्या है ये तो प्रशासन से पता लगेगा। लेकिन जहां तक मंदिर की बात है, मंदिर 300 साल पुराना बताया गया है। हमने वहां से तस्वीर भी दिखाई कि जो रियासत काल में बावड़ी, कुआं और मंदिर एक साथ राजा के द्वारा दिए जाते थे पुजारी को, वो तस्वीर भी हमने दिखाई है कि वहां बावड़ी मौजूद है, वहां कुआं मौजूद है और वहीं पर वो मंदिर मौजूद है। लेकिन वहां ये नोटिस देकर कि मंदिर अतिक्रमण क्षेत्र में, इसलिए इसको तोड़ा जा रहा है और तोड़ दिया गया। लोगों का यह कहना है कि न सिर्फ मंदिर तोड़ा गया बल्कि ड्रिल करके शिवालय को निकाला गया, शिवलिंग को निकाला गया, तमाम मूर्तियां वहां तोड़ दी गई। हमने एक कार्तिकेय की मूर्ति भी दिखाई जिसमें 3 शीर्ष हैं, उनके 3 सिर हैं और वो तीनों अलग अलग कर दिए गए हैं। यानी कि आस्था का प्रतीक मूर्तियां जिस पर लोग कभी जलाभिषेक करते थे, कभी उस पर दुग्धाभिषेक करते थे, लेकिन अब प्रशासन ने उन पर मृदाभिषेक कर दिया है। मतलब मिट्टी छा गई है, मूर्तियां मिट्टी में सनी पड़ी हैं। कुछ मूर्तियों को तोड़कर वो लोग कचरे की तरह उठाकर ले गए हैं। सवाल ये नहीं है कि ये अतिक्रमण क्षेत्र में था, नहीं था, क्या था, लेकिन लोगों की आस्था का भी ख्याल रखा जाना चाहिए था, क्योंकि जिस तरीके से 300 साल से पीढ़ी दर पीढ़ी लोगों की आस्था उससे जुड़ी हुई थी, ऐसे में कम से कम इतना तो ख्याल रखा जाता कि उन मूर्तियों को सहसम्मान वहां से विस्थापित किया जाता, न कि तोड़ा जाता।
भंवर, मैं आपसे एक पूछना चाहता हूं, एक और सवाल, और ये आपको थोड़ा सोच समझ के इसका जवाब देना पड़ेगा. You'll have to give it some thought, and I hope that you have spoken to people. कई लोग कह रहे हैं कि ये एक किस्म से उन पे बदला लिया जा रहा है. That this is an act of vendetta by the MLA, the Congress MLA there. ये किस आधार पे, on what basis is this being said? किस आधार पे बोला जा रहा है?
देखिए, एमएलए ने जो कहा है उसका वीडियो मैंने भेजा है उस वीडियो में साफ तौर पर दिखाई दे रहा है, जो वायरल हो रहा है पिछले 4-5 दिन से, उसमें विधायक ये कह रहे हैं कि बोया पेड़ बबूल का तो आम कहां से होए। मैं अक्षर से उन्हीं के शब्द बोल रहा हूं, जिसमें वो कहते हैं कि बोया पेड़ बबूल का आम कहां से होए। आपने 34 एमएलए भाजपा 34 पार्षद भाजपा के बनाए, एक पार्षद कांग्रेस का बनाया, बोर्ड आपने नगरपालिका में भाजपा का बनाया है, इसलिए अब आम नहीं मिल सकते, आपको कांटे मिलेंगे। लेकिन आप इन 34 पार्षदों को अगर मेरे पास ले आते हैं तो मैं इस कार्रवाई को रुकवा सकता हूं। ये उनके अक्षर से शब्द हैं जो वीडियो में सुनाई दे रहे हैं। तो आप देखिए कि अगर 34 पार्षद उनके पास आ जाते हैं, मतलब साफ है कि कांग्रेस का बोर्ड बने, वो पार्षद उनके साथ आ जाएं। आपने कांग्रेस को वोट नहीं दिया है, इसलिए ये कार्रवाई तो होगी, और वो कार्रवाई हुई। उसके बाद जब हमने उनसे सवाल किया तो उनका ये कहना है कि मैं एक अकेला चना भाड़ नहीं फोड़ सकता है। अगर वो 34 लोग भी हमारे साथ आते तो शायद ये कार्रवाई नहीं होती, ये उनका कहना है। इसमें कोई दो राय नहीं है कि बोर्ड यहाँ पर भाजपा का है, और उन्हीं लोगों ने ये प्रस्ताव पास किया, उसके बाद ये कार्रवाई हुई है। जी,
Thank you very much, Bhavan. Thank you very much. You see, viewers, the corporators in both Delhi and in Alwar, forget about what the locals are saying, both BJP, both set of corporators did their job. They decided to go on a demolition drive to clear out encroachments. What's really duplicitous about the opposition's response, viewers, is that this particular demolition in Alwar happened 4 days before the demolition in Delhi. Now, if the opposition is so worried about the dispossessed being bulldozed because they will starve, they lose their economic agencies, then why didn't they go here? Why didn't they go to the Supreme Court? Why didn't they stand in front of the bulldozers in Alwar? After all, the bulldozers were ordered once again by the BJP corporators. Viewers, there's something inexplicably hypocritical about this. And I want to open this up, and I want to begin with Dr. Anand Ranganathan. I don't want to go straight to the politically inclined here. I want to go to Smita Prakash. I want to first start with you, Dr. Ranganathan. How do you assess this? A tale of two demolitions.
Good evening, Rahul, and good evening to all my fellow panelists. Look, not caring about our history is bad enough, Rahul. But to destroy it, and to destroy it like this right before our eyes, is nothing short of criminal. I'm appalled. But I have 3 things to say. Number one, I want to thank you for dispassionately and objectively exposing the hypocrisy of all parties here. And by all, I mean Congress as well as the BJP. You see, since morning, when you've informed that Rajgarh municipality is controlled overwhelmingly by the BJP, and yet they ordered the demolition of this temple, and yet BJP, all Karyakartas as well as their leaders have been castigating the Congress and the Congress government for demolishing a 300-year-old temple. They are responsible for this. And number two, for exposing the Congress by saying that if in both cases, in Alwar, the BJP corporation or the municipality does the demolition drive, then you don't do anything. But if in Jahangirpuri, the same BJP-controlled municipality does the demolition drive, again it is religion agnostic, there you go to the Supreme Court. So both parties are to blame. But here, can I also add one thing, and this is very important. Number one, the blame should not just be limited to political parties. It has to go to institutions. How on earth, when ASI as well as DAMH rules stipulate that any monument or building that is more than 100 years old has to be qualified as a heritage building, how on earth was this demolished without a court order? Because I can quote from the director of DAMH, which is heritage and archaeology department as well as ASI, Rahul, that a heritage building anywhere, you have to get a court order in order to demolish it. On what basis have they demolished our heritage? A 300-year-old temple, 1709 or roundabout there it was. This is criminality. And this is not just limited to Alwar, or you can say Congress government. In Gujarat, so many temples have been demolished on the pretext of development, and in my state, Tamil Nadu, in Tanjore, on the pretext of making a smart city, Rahul. What is happening is criminality, but because it is not BJP or Congress, it doesn't come into news. Do you know how many tens of temples, even a courthouse which is 400 years old, has been demolished in Tanjore? I don't know what to say. And then we cry that we don't know history. When we are demolishing it right in front of our eyes, how dare we then blame other people for saying that we don't care about history? This is criminal and really sad.
Criminal and very sad. Let me bring in Tehseen Poonawala. Let me bring in Nupur Sharma, the national spokesperson of the BJP. But before the two, as I said, political stakeholders, let me bring in editor of ANI, Smita Prakash. Smita Prakash, this is a strange one. The only thing I can say, that strangely the BJP has been consistent in both Delhi and Alwar. Jahangirpuri and Alwar, their bulldozers have run, whether it's a mosque or a temple. It doesn't matter. If it's an encroachment, it's an encroachment. That's the only degree of consistency here that I can spot. The rest of it, of course, is completely duplicitous, hypocritical. I'll come to you one second, Nupur Sharma. You know, your finger might fall off if you keep waving it that hard. I'll come to you in 2 minutes, please. Give me 30 seconds, please.
It won't. Not so fragile.
Okay, I'm glad.
Not so fragile.
I'm glad. Yes, the Congress will need a bulldozer to put your finger down. It's made of sterner stuff. Okay, but let's look. You know, I don't want to make this. I don't want to make this. There should be no levity because I know what the trolls will start saying. So let's for a few moments just come back to the subject. Smita Prakash, what do you make of this? The JCB, call it what you want to, in Jahangirpuri, communal. And here, it is paving the way for development, discrimination and development. How does this work?
Yeah, in fact, Rahul, now that you mentioned the JCB, I mean, even poor Boris Johnson has been termed as a Hindutva icon by many, including the Amnesty, which has castigated him for getting onto that JCB and taking a picture, getting a photo op done. Anyway, stranger things have happened in our country. The thing is that, you know, what I find also very bizarre is that the Jahangir, based on just the sound bites that you've run, that the Jahangirpuri demolition is termed as a Hindutva demolition, and even though no Hindu place of worship was demolished or desecrated, non-Hindu place of worship was demolished or desecrated, only an extension of the mosque, and that also just an outward extension. Nothing of the mosque was demolished. Nothing has happened to the temple out there. Prayers in all places of worship in Jahangirpuri were on schedule all the days. Nothing happened out there. In spite of that, the demolition becomes a Hindutva demolition. Well, so does that make the Alwar demolition a secular demolition? I mean, I'm not being flippant out here, but I'm just asking, you know, because it does seem a little odd that nobody from the Communist Party, there's no fact-finding mission which has gone from any of the political parties who made a beeline to Jahangirpuri. MIM hasn't gone, TMC hasn't gone, Congress hasn't gone, and this in spite of the fact which you have just said that a deity was moved by machines. Your reporter just said, and it's a 300-year-old temple. So forget about religious aspect of it, just the antiquity aspect of it. A 300-year-old religious place of worship or an antiquity based place has been shifted. You know, how different is it then from a Babri mosque being pulled down or an Akal Takht which was desecrated? How different is it from them? And there is going to be no Supreme Court, no delegation going to the Supreme Court, no posse of lawyers, of top-notch lawyers who charge 15 lakhs per appearance, going out there and saying that, demanding that, you know, this be stopped, the JCB stopped. No activist is going to stand with a hand in front front of the JCB saying, Roko, Roko. Nothing of that sort happened, right? No heart-rending pieces, op-eds in newspapers, which are newspapers of the truth. Nothing of that sort. It's just gone silently, other than a few media channels which have picked it up. That also television. As far as the newspapers are concerned, it's been relegated. Why? Because it's a secular demolition. Let me be absolutely clear out here. No hypocrisy. And I want to end with that.
Okay. Now let me bring in Nupur Sharma. Nupur Sharma, first of all, I just want you to observe these two press notes. Here, viewers, are two press notes. One is from the Alwar Corporation. One is from the Jahangirpuri Corporation, the local wards. And they read like facsimiles. One is in English, one is in Hindi, but pretty much saying the same thing. There's also no guarantee, of course, that all those who were accused of encroachment were served notices. So again, due process here not followed to the T. So is that the reason why the BJP is claiming hypocrisy here, Nupur Sharma, or is there some other reason?
First and foremost, Rahul, the press note that you're actually waving, I also have it. This was not a Nagar Palika press note. It's been signed by the collector. The collector does not actually report to the Nagar Palika anywhere. He reports directly to the state government, which is in power. It is signed by Shiv Prasad M. Nakate, Jila Collector, Alwar. So this is not a press note of the Nigam Parshad or the local body. Rather, it's a press note of the collector who reports and follows the orders of the state government. Let's have that clear. Point number two. What you are saying is Gaurav Path was actually a plan which was deduced when Vasundhara Raje government was in power some 4 years ago. This is what the plan looks like. It was passed on 17/9/2021. The breadth or the chodai of the path was supposed to be 60 feet. This is September 2021. But on measurements, when the, like you said, BJP controlled Nagar Palika, on measurement realized that the Gaurav Path is going to, the temple is in the way. They reduced the size of the Gaurav Path from 60 feet to 30 feet so as to not disturb the 300-year-old temple. And this is in point number 5 of the new plan, which is passed on 8th February 2022, over 2 months ago. So when you show the press note of, say, the collector of Alwar, please do read point number 10. There are 3 temples which have been taken down in this demolition. Very interestingly, one recently built temple had the statues of Shiva and Parvati atop a nala, a sewage line. I have never heard of a temple being built over any sewage line or any nala. How come, and that's question number 1 to the Congress government, I wish there was an official Congress representative sitting on this show, especially from Rajasthan. How come that recently built temple administration or a privately built administration had prior knowledge of this demolition right, and they managed to remove safely the statues of our Hindu gods and goddesses? How come the same information was not actually communicated to the 300-year-old Prachin temple or their administration? Rather, the videos are that those demolishing were wearing shoes and chappals. They climbed atop the statues and they cut the statues into half. Never have you seen something as disgraceful as this. And if I may say this, we saw the Ram Darbar Dwar of Salasar Balaji temple being taken down when they lost the matter. And mind you, by they I mean Congress, because they are the people who were contesting the hijab matter before the Karnataka High Court. They took it even to the Honorable Supreme Court, where they didn't find any success. So right after they lost the hijab matter, they took down the Ram Darbar Dwar of Salasar Balaji, and right after the demolition happened in Delhi, they took down the 300-year-old temple in spite of the fact that the Nagar Palika had ordered not to do so on 8th February 2022. The direct answer needs to be taken from the collector as to how come this recently, overnightly, privately built temple had prior information and managed to remove the idols, but the 300-year-old historic temple did not have this information. And lastly, let's understand what the politics behind it is. Ramkesh Meena, local Congress MLA, has gone on record to welcome this demolition by saying it's for the welfare of the people. Jawaharlal Meena, infamous father of the rapist Deepak, who is prime accused of the rape of a minor girl, only recently in news. Must I tell you what happened? Jawaharlal Meena, there was a memorandum signed by the shop owners of the area right outside this historic temple, who signed a memorandum saying that Deepak should be arrested and there should be strictest punishment to him. And this is in revenge, much like the revenge of the Jahangirpuri demolition. Jawaharlal Meena and the Congress government ensured that against the demolition in Jahangirpuri, plainly for Tushtikarana or minority appeasement Rajniti,
well,
let's take down the 300-year-old temple.
Okay, now I don't want to muddy waters further here, viewers, but our reporter on the ground, and these are the pictures that you can see. Now there is a structure here, it's a shop. Viewers, it belongs to an individual called Zakir Khan. That stands. But the shops to the left and to the right,
mattress, yeah,
without prejudice, I don't know,
mattress
somehow has been left out of this demolition drive. I don't know what the circumstances are. It might be too early to pronounce judgment on it, but it's a curious development which our reporter Bhavar is saying should be highlighted.
Right.
Should be highlighted, because it does seem to suggest that all is not according to script. If it is all according to law, then how is it that this particular shop front, this entire shop in fact, remains standing? I'm going to be connecting to Bhavar in just a few seconds, but I also want you to know, viewers, that C Block in Jahangirpuri in Delhi is an area which has historically had many more Muslims living than Hindus. And in this particular locality in Alwar, that is not quite the case. So was it therefore easier to construct a narrative of victimization of one community over the other? Did it make political sense to do so? Was it born out of a sense of appeasement? Tehseen, till I get to Bhavar and get him to talk a little bit about this strange anomaly, I want you to respond.
But then don't interrupt me. Because
I'm not. You can speak.
Nukus had a long innings. So
yes,
I don't want to be
just don't attack people personally. If you do, then you don't expect me to sit quiet. Yes, go ahead.
You know that I don't attack people personally.
Yeah, good. Go ahead.
Unless you think the Bharatiya Janata Party is a person, which I think is not true. So here's the facts of the case. Rahul, you are one of the most prominent journalists in our country. So is Smitaji, who I have immense respect for, and so is Anand. And all three of you know that this demolition is only under the BJP board. Now, to come on national television and to say that the Congress is responsible for this demolition is a lie that was allowed, but you know it's not true. Now, for the second part of the Zakir, I'm going to come to this. What the Congress government has done. So first, the BJP not just demolished in Delhi, they've done this in Rajasthan. And after doing that, they blame the Congress for the demolition and start putting out visuals as if, you know, this was some sort of a Congress conspiracy to take down a 300-year-old temple. Something they've done in Gujarat as well. The reason beyond this is every night I tell on your television, the BJP 1 year before elections creates Hindu-Muslim riots so that they can come to power. This is the BJP toolkit today which you are exposing, and the BJP is admitting to it. As so far as this shop is concerned, I'm absolutely telling you, this is because the board is done by them. These people behave in such a way that one person is affected, another person is not affected, so that they can create their riot-like situation and come to power. What has the Chief Minister done? I'm telling you from the Chief Minister's office. The OSD to the Chief Minister has not only said that this demolition was done by the BJP, which had a majority, the Chief Minister and the state government have stopped funds to this board. Now this board will have to not just explain to the Chief Minister and to the state government why the 300-year-old temple was demolished and our deity was broken down with a machine. If the explanation is not successful, they will not get funds. Let them go to court and get another tight slap as they got in the Supreme Court.
Viewers, why does the Congress party choose to selectively believe locals? In Jahangirpuri, when locals spoke about their homes being demolished, etc., and this being a sort of witch hunt, they went out and said, absolutely, one community is being targeted. Kapil Sibal of the Congress party, representing one of the Muslim organizations in the Supreme Court, even said this, and the judge reacted with incredulity. But here in Alwar, when the community comes out and says, look, there's been vendetta, we are being punished by the Congress major domo, the MLA there, for not voting according to his wishes, the Congress says, no, the BJP needs to answer all of this. So what is it? Is there a different DNA? Do they have some lie detector test that they instantly conduct? And let me play out the local expression, viewers, then bring in Bhavar, then come to Dr. Ranganathan as well as Mr. Sohail. First, let's play out the bites of the locals who are making these claims.
तो यही तो हम कहना चाह रहे हैं कि यहीं से क्यों यहाँ पे हम अभी थोड़े दिन पहले यहाँ पर जुलूस निकाला गया था बीजेपी और के द्वारा यहाँ के नेता जो अपने यानी विधायक जी के सुपुत्र के उसमें तो उसका बदला लिया गया है। अभी उन्होंने एक बार मीटिंग भी करी थी। उनके बेटे पर जब रेप का आरोप लगा था तो बीजेपी ने जुलूस निकाला। तो अब उन्होंने आपका जुलूस निकाल दिया। उन्होंने हमारा खून चूसा है उन्होंने तो जुलूस क्या निकाला।
There you go, viewers. Now, Tehseen Poonawalla, will you choose to believe these locals or will you say, oh, they're all BJP agents planted there to cook up stories?
Absolutely not. Because I believe them, I've stopped funds to the BJP board. Anything that is wrong, I have to stand by that. I am standing by people. I think the demolition of the temple...
No, you are nobody in the picture. I'm just saying you're not the Congress party. You hope to one day perhaps assume some amount of control. I'm only saying, you're speaking as a private... Yeah, you're speaking as a private citizen.
I'm talking as a chief. I'm talking that the party stopped the chief minister and the government has stopped funds to the locals. To the board, to the boards, because they believe the problem of the locals. They absolutely believe it, so they've stopped funding.
No, so, okay, Dr. Ranganathan wants to come in.
Now,
yes,
what else can
Dr. Ranganathan. I want to bring in Bhavar right after. Yes.
No, very quickly, Rahul. First of all, I think
I want to factually correct him, please.
Yeah, okay, no problem.
Yeah,
yes.
Nupur, can I just 30 seconds? You know the video clip that you are showing of I think the shop Zakir thing. Interestingly, if you look at the architectural embellishments on top of that shop, they are possibly, and if it's the same temple structure, they are of Hindu origin, whereas the shop is of Zakir. So obviously the Congress is, wallowing in hypocrisy. There's nothing new in that. We know from the farm laws how hypocritical they are. But the fact is, I keep it very simple, Rahul, very simple, and that is the Occam's razor. Under whose watch did the demolition happen? It happened under the BJP-controlled municipality's watch. It's as simple as that. Whatever the locals can say, right, I trust them, I believe them, they may be vendetta or whatever. But the demolition of a 300-year-old temple happened under the watch of BJP-controlled municipality. That is an irrefutable fact.
Yes. Let me bring in Bhavar. Bhavar, कहा जा रहा है सबसे पहले कि ये जो जाकिर साहब की दुकान है जिसको हम दिखा रहे हैं, ये खड़ी क्यों है? अगर ये पूरी जगहों में अवैध रूप से लोगों ने पब्लिक लैंड पे कब्जा कर रखा है तो ये कैसे खड़ी रह गई? इस पे आप थोड़ी क्लैरिफिकेशन दें। और दूसरी बात मुझे ये बताएं कि अगर बीजेपी के पार्षद हैं जैसे आप कह रहे हैं तो फिर ये कांग्रेस पे क्यों लोग इल्जाम उठा रहे हैं? ये दो चीजों का जवाब।
दोनों चीज़ों को मैं स्पष्ट कर देना चाहता हूं। जिस तरीके से हमने लोगों से यहां बात की है, लोगों ने साफ बताया है, जिस दुकान की हम बात कर रहे हैं कि एक दुकान नाम विशेष की वहां पर रह गई है, तो उसके लिए यह है कि वो स्टे ले आए हैं, इसलिए उसको छोड़ दिया गया है। लोगों का यह कहना है कि अचानक से इन्हें कैसे पता लगता है और ये स्टे क्यों ले आते हैं? बाकी लोगों को स्टे का पता नहीं लगता है, बाकी लोगों को बताया नहीं जाता है, ये लोगों का आरोप है। क्यों उसको छोड़ा गया, ये लोग कह रहे हैं। दूसरा सवाल जो आपका है उसके मुताबिक जो पार्षदों वाली बात है, 33 जो पार्षद हैं और 34 जो पार्षद हैं वो बीजेपी के हैं, एक पार्षद कांग्रेस का है। वो लोग इसलिए कह रहे हैं कि आज से करीबन 4-5 दिन पहले यहाँ के जो कांग्रेस विधायक हैं वो यहाँ पर आते हैं, इसी गली के पास में एक दुकान है जहाँ पर उनका स्वागत होता है और वहाँ ये बात लोग कहते हैं कि आप विधायक हैं, आपकी सरकार है, आप हमें बचा लीजिए, लोग हमारे घर तोड़ेंगे, नोटिस दे दिए हैं। तो विधायक कहते हैं कि आपने बबूल का पेड़ बोया है तो आम कहां से लगेंगे? आपने 33 पार्षद बीजेपी के जिता दिए हैं, लेकिन फिर भी आप अगर उन 33 को मेरे पास ले आते हैं तो आपके यहां कार्रवाई नहीं होगी। ये लोगों में आक्रोश है, ये लोगों में गुस्सा है कि विधायक इस तरह की भाषा का इस्तेमाल कर रहे हैं कि आप वहां से सिर्फ अपना राजनीतिक उल्लू सीधा करना चाहते हैं कि
तो
33
आप कह रहे हैं
ले आइए।
आपके हिसाब से आप कह रहे हैं कि विधायक रोक सकते थे, मगर विधायक ने इसको एक अपॉर्चुनिटी बनाया, इसको एक इंसेंटिवाइज किया इसको, और बोला कि भाई हाँ मैं रोक दूंगा अगर आप ये जो 34 के 34 बीजेपी वाले इनको कांग्रेस में बदल दें तो फिर ठीक हो जाएगा सब मामला। ये आप कह रहे हैं
जी।
तो एक किस्म से एक ब्लैकमेल, आर्म ट्विस्टिंग,
उनका कहना यही है, क्योंकि बात वहीं जा रही है और यहाँ के लोग भी यही कह रहे हैं
जी। सो देयर इज एन एलिमेंट ऑफ आर्म ट्विस्टिंग हियर। Now, Tehseen, what would you want to say? You don't want to still believe these people? Why isn't a board of inquiry being, instituted against the MLA? Why isn't a team landing up there? Where is Brinda Karat?
You're definitely not that naive to make the comment that you made on TV. What the MLA has said is, you get the 33 BJP corporators or representatives to me. He didn't ask them that they convert to Congress and therefore. He said, I don't have the numbers. If they come to me, please allow me to finish. Don't heckle me.
Right.
He said, if they come to me and I can stop it. An MLA does not chair an MLA.
Right.
An MLA does not chair the board. He can then pursue them in a majority to stop the orders that they have given.
Okay, Nupur Sharma wants to respond to you. Fair enough.
He has one board member.
Okay, fair enough. Nupur Sharma,
somebody.
1 second. Party to party. Yes, Nupur Sharma.
This response.
Yes.
This is response both to Professor Ranganathan and to Tehseen. Professor Ranganathan, I've already shown point number 5 of the new plan which was passed by the Nagar Palika. I'm sure, I could be wrong, but a lot of you don't know what an Upkhand Adhikari is. Under whose, must I say, guidance and under whose supervision any kind of demolition takes place. An Upkhand Adhikari is an SDM or SDO. Again, UPSC level or Rajasthan Civil Services level official who has to report to the collector, who reports directly to the government of Rajasthan, does not report to the Nagar Palika. Point number 9 of the press note of the collector specifies that and in Hindi it says that all arrangements including chikitsak, all strategic arrangements from ambulances, from, mind you, bulldozers do not belong to any municipal corporation or Nagar Palikas, Nagar Nigams, they come from PWDs or fire brigade इत्यादि की व्यवस्था भी सुनिश्चित की गई है. So this entire demolition drive happened, and if you read the entire Panna and all the pages, you will see Upkhand Adhikari was the supervisor of this entire demolition drive. If the BJP wanted the temple to go, the BJP controlled local body would not have passed the new plan on 8th February 2022. However, I do want to respond to Mr. Tehseen Poonawala, who said that BJP has an agenda. Well, I'll tell you what, maybe on the show you are just accepting that you are a useless government in Rajasthan. There will be a Ram temple Darbar Dwar which will fall outside of Salasar. You will not do, you will not do anything. There will be this 300-year-old temple which will be fallen thanks to the orders of the collector and SDM. You will not do anything. You will go to Jahangirpuri. There will be a Karoli violence. You will not do anything.
Well, let me tell you,
rather,
viewers,
you will ensure that your supported councillor, Mr. Matloob Ahmed, goes absconding, and even Altaf Hullar. You know who he is, Tehseen? Altaf Hullar is the guy who is accompanying Maulana Pathan atop that car outside the Thana in Hubli in Karnataka, asking for Sarv Tan Se Juda, or in English, beheading. So perhaps you are a party which is right behind all of this. Within Ashok Gehlot, hamari kya galti hai? In a full state with law and order and home under your control, you are saying Modi ji is responsible for Matloob Ahmed absconding.
Quick response, Tehseen Poonawala. Yes.
She's talking about everything. She's talking about Karnataka, where it is a BJP government. They don't have the guts to take action. They're talking about Uttar Pradesh. They don't have the guts to take action. And in Rajasthan, the chief minister has acted. But I want to make one more point, and this is where I want to end. Can an additional commissioner municipality, MCD, in Delhi refuse the orders of the municipal corporation run by the BJP in Delhi? That is how bureaucracy works. But you have to be absolutely lost to come here and say, no, the additional commissioner or the SDM only listen to the state government and not to the local
Mr. Poonawala, you're a bit wrong there. In India, at every level, there is a system of... One second, there is a system of checks and balances. So let's not ignore that. Let's not be too clever by half. Look, the Congress... One second. Look, okay. calm down. Look, I haven't stepped into this. 1 second, please. Everybody, 1 second. Give me 30 seconds. Look, viewers. In India, in the administrative structure, you have a system of checks and balances. You have authorities that go all the way up to the local MLA and beyond that to the MP, and then beyond that, of course, to the government and the chief minister of the state, etc., etc. So let's not pass over all of that. It's a very intricate system. Yes, obviously, the cooperators are from the BJP on both fronts, in Jahangirpuri as well as in Alwar. The point here, viewers, that the Congress supports the action, lock, stock and barrel. And if you just hear some of its legislators, even if you hear the officials who respond to these legislators like SDM Keshav Kumar Meena, they all have come out and said, great, we did a good job. We are furthering the cause of democracy. It doesn't matter who was the individual cooperator. It doesn't really matter. Yes, we're not talking about whether a mandir has been demolished or a mosque has been demolished. We can all look at it through our very, very magnified communal lens. But that is not what we are talking about. We are talking about principles here. You can't say one set of demolitions are discriminatory and the other set are not. That is where the problem begins and ends. There is no consistency. Sohail Saab, would you agree with me or would you disagree with me? And I leave you with the last word.
I'll reply you, Rahul. It's a strongly condemnable decision by the BJP ruled municipal corporation in demolishing the ancient mandir. You know, I say always, लगेगी आग तो आएंगे सभी घर जद में. यहाँ पे सिर्फ मेरा घर नहीं है. See, from when the bulldozers have become Muslim and Hindu, and I remember I have seen one of the tweet of your colleague editor. She was making fun on the manufacturing and importing out the bulldozers.
Look, Sohail,
this is what,
I told you, let's not make this about people and individuals, etc. I'm sorry. No, don't do this, because I have several tweets from your leaders who have mocked, who have been selective, including you. Now, Mr. Sohail, this is not right. In complete, 1 second, in complete, no, I'm shutting you down. I'm sorry. This is not a product. You know, we've not had a slanging match. And if the AIMM thinks that they can sit here and go into this diatribe, let me tell you, viewers, since we are now digressing, let me tell you. In Hubli, there are 2 AIMM legislators, not legislators, but party men, who have been booked by the police. Why? Because they were part of a venal attempt at despoiling peace between communities. The words "Sartan se juda" were used to rally the masses to take offense to a blasphemous act. Now, viewers, we're actually talking at cross purposes here. The AIMM actually, and people who support them are really out there on the fringe. So maybe we shouldn't have even asked them the question, and that's why I sort of delayed it. I was hoping against hope that the person will be responsible. Clearly isn't. But viewers, I just want to tell you this. This is not about Hindu, Muslim. This is not about that. This is about a stand that has been taken by one political party and its ecosystem. And whether you blame the BJP or not, it's about the principle at the end of the day. It's about demolitions. In one area, in C block of Jahangirpuri, the demolition was seen as a draconian act, discriminatory. And in Alwar, it is not seen as that. It is seen as one advancing development. The only similarity is the letter of the words, D and D. Duplicitous is another word that comes to mind. I'll leave it at this. I think Dr. Ranganathan wanted to make a point. He raised his hand. Yes, very finally. Yes, Doctor.
No, very quickly, briefly, 2 points. Number one, Rahul, if it was not the BJP's fault, then the notice for the demolition was given for 5 days, as has been clarified by the people there. Why didn't the 33 corporators protest or made a ring around the temple to prevent it from being demolished? And number two, maybe this is for another debate, but we have to talk about conservation of our heritage structures. I think the ASI
that's a different subject. We're not going down that rabbit hole. That's a different subject. I accept your point. And of course, there are examples of masjids, etc., dargahs in the middle of roads, even in the union capital, I mean, there's one just off Janpat, in fact, right there, outside a hotel, and it protrudes out into the street, and for a long while it was seen to be an obstacle, but it remains there, and it's guarded. So I agree with you, but fundamentally, viewers, we're not here talking about at the local level who's to blame, who's not. It's just a reaction, and the reaction needs to be consistent. Either we stand for upholding the law, or then we go down selectively making excuses for not enforcing the law. Now, it could be that, you know, we invoke secularism or compassion for the poor, and that too, selectively. That's not on. Let's all mature and grow up a little bit. If an encroachment has taken place, accept it for what it is. Enforce the law. Don't politicize it. That is a dangerous precedent to set.